Okay, so we're going to do a complete run through with the foam roller, working every body part in the lower half. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to do this using a timer to make sure that we work every bit as much as we can. So first thing we're going to do, back of the calf muscles. We're going to keep the foot upright like that. You can put the other leg across to get a bit of pressure on it, and we're just going to roll in. You'll have to excuse my foam roller, it's quite creaky. So all we're doing is moving all the way down from the back of the knee to the back of the ankle, looking for any pressure spots. So you'll find, for me, I've got one about there. Now you can take your bum off the floor if you want, but you're going to get pretty tired doing that, so just leave it on. Alright, that's 30 seconds. We're going to stop on the painful spot for 30 seconds. Don't move. This is not the most exciting part. So what we're doing, we're giving it time to relax. We're trying to breathe out and let that muscle relax over the curve of the roller. That's not too painful for me this time. Okay, when the 30 seconds is up, we're going to rock it down the length of the foam roller and then roll it a little bit. That's when we rock and roll. So, rock it. This is usually where it gets a little bit worse. If you need to move it onto a sore spot, there you go, that's worse for me now. There. I'm going to roll it a little bit. So we're just working it for another 30 seconds on the same spot. Ooh. Okay. So especially for runners, this is all the stuff that's going to get very tight very quickly. If you're just starting out running. Okay, next part we're doing, 45 degrees out, same thing. So we're going to hit the muscles differently here. 30 seconds of rolling to start with. Ooh. So I've got something uncomfortable there and there. So I'm going to pick that upper one for when we hit to our 30-second hold. So I'm just going to work it up here a bit more. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, so 30 seconds on the most uncomfortable part. So we're just doing that kind of outward 45-degree rotation. The 10 seconds. Now we're trying to breathe out. As much as it's uncomfortable, I'm trying to let that muscle just relax into that stretch. Okay, now we're going to work it. Rocking it down the length. Rolling it a bit. Wiggling it. Whatever you can do to try to release the tension in there. And it should get worse. Oh, God. That's normal. Okay, inside now. So you're going to roll to the inside of it and we're looking for anything down there. You can do anything from about 45 degrees to 90 degrees. Just keep wiggling it until you find something. We're going to pick the worst point. If you want more pressure, you can push the other foot down onto it. I've got a little bit there, but nothing particularly bad. But we're still going to give it 30 seconds on the worst spot. If I want more, I can pick my bum up off the floor into a side hopper. That's nasty. The 10 seconds and then we rock and roll it. Okay, rocking down the length is where it should feel worse. And then a bit of rolling. And a bit of wiggling, rocking, rolling. So I'm using my upper body to control this. Now we're going to do the other leg. So start with it vertical, 30 seconds of rolling. Go all the way down the leg. Nothing particularly bad in there for me, that's about the worst spot there. So 30 seconds on that. Again, just focusing on relaxing the muscle. If you keep it too tight, it basically just sits locked on there and doesn't really stretch. If you can, you're trying to melt it over the top of the roller so the stretch gets right up into the muscle and locally stretches it more. So remember, this is supposed to be a sports massage, so we are trying to massage the muscle. Now rock and roll. Okay, outside of the leg now, so 45 degrees. Give it a good roll. Again, we're looking for tight spots. So on my left side, I had one right up here. Not really feeling it on that side. However, there I am. Ooh. Okay, so I found one that I'm going to work. And we're coming up to our 30 seconds. Okay, just stopping on that spot, putting some pressure on it. And pull into it a little bit to get a bit more onto it. That's it. So I'm actively pulling myself in to that roller just to get a little bit more tension. Keeping that angle there. Okay, rock and roll. So you might find that the more you work it, actually, the more the muscles relax and the more the muscle underneath starts to make itself known on that foam roller. Oh, that got worse as it went on. Okay, so inside now, we're doing all the way down. Again, you can change the angle slightly. See what's the worst bit? That's pretty unpleasant there. Alright, so we're coming up to our 30-second hold. So I'm pushing down, I've got pressure using that foot there. That's my worst spot. Ten more seconds. So I'm still thinking about trying to relax it over the curve. Okay, now work it. So down the length first, and then roll it. Oh. Oh. Alright, we're almost done with this one. Right, now we're going to do right down the outside here. So to do this one, we're going to get into this position. If you want, you can put this foot here. but I'm going to try and stack it into a side hover to get a bit more tension down there. Thank you. Right, that's about the worst spot for me. So I'm going to roll that bit. Okay, 30 seconds. Putting some pressure on. If I can, I'm going to hold that side hover. So just moving up towards the knee a little bit, that's getting worse actually. Holding on that spot, trying to relax it. Right, now rock and roll it. Oh, that's pretty horrible. And roll. Oh. Okay, other leg. So, working it down the length. Yeah, it's about worse there for me. Oh. I think it's really tight because I've just been for a run. It's a great time to do this when it's already warmed up a bit. I'm trying to stretch it out after a run. Okay, 30 seconds. Holding. Oh, that's nasty there. Now it'll seem counterintuitive to go on to the worst, most tender spot, but that's the bit where you really want to work. Don't forget, if you need to take load off, you can put the other foot down, you can put your hip on the floor, whatever you need to do. So you're in charge of how much pressure you put on. We're looking for a kind of 8 out of 10, if you can bear it. Okay, rock and roll. I'm just changing the angles as I go very slightly. Alright, now we're going to do down the front of the shin. Yeah, who knew there were so many muscles there? So we're getting into the plank position, and we're going to bring the knee across the body like we're doing a mountain climber. And we're going to work down the front of that shin. And that's about the most tender spot there. Coming up for about 30 seconds. Alright, now I'm going to put some more pressure on by pushing down with the other leg. Ah. If you really want it, you can take your feet off the floor as well, but that's too much for me. Rock and roll. So we're moving it left to right down the length, and then rolling it a little bit. Ah. So by using the timer, we're making sure that we work it for a good minute or more. We're giving it time to relax. Right, we're going to do the other leg now. So, plank position, bring it underneath, and then roll it. Let's see what we've got in there. Not too bad at the moment. That's about my worst spot there, I reckon. Okay, pressure on, 30 seconds. Oh, not so nice once I put some weight on it. Alright, now we're going to hit the adductors. So we're going to put it in line with the body and then put the knee across at right angles to your body. And then we roll it all the way out into the crotch and back out again. Now usually the worst spot is about there, just inside the knee. Okay, so that's the bit you're probably going to need to work. And what you can do to make this even better is you lift the heel up. So we're just targeting slightly to the top bit. Right, that's my worst bit there. So I'm going to keep my heel up and push down a little bit with the leg. Oh. So keeping that 30-second hold. Starting to feel it up here as well now because I'm pushing down with it. Okay, rock and roll it. So we're going to lift the heel up and down to get the roll. Or the rock rather. And then in and out a little bit. Up and down. Okay, other leg. So, in line with the body, leg out at about 90 degrees, and then work all the way inside, checking for tight spots, keeping the heel high. Definitely worst out there for me. Ah, there. There's a slightly bit further away from the knee than the other side. Whew, work that a bit. Okay, 30-second hold. So I'm keeping the heel up and the leg out. So you get a different feel depending on how bent your knee is. So, okay, working it. So you can work it in and out, up and down, and all of these are going to make a slight difference into how you notice that. Oh, that one's deeply unpleasant. Okay, so we're going back to the first leg, and we're putting it out about 45 degrees. And this time, we're still doing the inside of that leg, but we're going with a straight leg. Okay, so we're working just inside the leg there. For most people, that'll be pretty much the same muscles, but it's definitely worth having a go in that straight leg position because it does feel different. Okay, 30-second hold. Again, focusing on relaxing that muscle down. So the tighter the muscle, the more you need to breathe and relax it. Okay, rock and roll. Oh my word. Rock and roll it down the length. Oh, that's so much worse in that position. Okay, other leg. So 45 degrees out from the position you're lying in. I'm going to do down the inside of that leg while it's straight. Oh. Okay, it's definitely worse there. So I've just changed the angle very slightly and it's made a huge difference to how much I'm feeling that. 30-second hold. Now by hold we just mean we're going slow, tiny little movements if you have to, but trying to keep it as still as possible, melting it over that roller. You might get some twitching, you might get a little bit of numbness, pins and needles, sometimes these things happen, they're perfectly normal. It will pass in a few seconds. Okay, now, rock and roll. Alright, so we're switching to up here now, top of the thigh. So, put it down, we're going to put one leg on the roller and just work it all the way down from the hip, down the outside of that leg. So we're about 45 degrees out, something like that. Try not to hit the IT band right down the outside. So we don't generally roll that. Okay, find your sore spot or your worst spot, that's it there. So we don't roll the IT band because it is a band. It's supposed to be tight. We can do the muscles all around it, but not the band itself. We don't want it to stretch, otherwise it becomes less stable. Okay, rock and roll. So down the length first. Should get worse. And then roll it. Alright, other leg, set it up. Again, we're doing down that kind of outer upper bit. So roll it. You can bring your other knee in if you want to take some load off or control it better. Oh. Okay, I found my horrible spot right there. 30 seconds holding on that spot. Feel my left foot twitching now. So these are big muscles in the leg, especially the quads down the front of the legs. So you can afford to try to really relax them so it goes deeper into the muscles underneath. Feel yourself sinking over the top of the roller. Rock and roll. So we're moving right up to the hip now. We're going to try forward and back. Sometimes we'll get either side of the band there. So that's what we're trying for now. Is right up into the hip. Try the front. If you get nothing there, try the back. There. So I've got one just in the hip there. So I'm going to sit with that one, and then we're going to do our 30-second hold. So again, I'm trying to sink into it. So if you've got a tight IT band, these are kind of the culprits right at the top there, either side of it. Pulling it tight. So another 3 seconds, and then we're going to roll it and rock it. Let's do it. So this is really the top outer bum I'm doing here. I'm going to do the bum properly in a minute. Oh. Okay, other side. So start looking down the front, and if that doesn't get anything, we go to the back. So I've got a bit there actually. I'm going to, right there. I'm going to stick with that. Didn't get that on the other side, but definitely more tender. Okay, 30-second hold. Find your tender spot and sit on it. That's perfectly normal to have different tight muscles on each side. Most people have very real differences in the way they walk and stand and sit, so different muscles get tight on different legs. Now, work it. You generally have one leg that's stronger than the other, one leg that's more balanced than the other. So don't forget, rock and roll. We're moving on to the bum now. So we're going to sit on this one. Just be careful you don't roll off. So have one hand behind you, one butt cheek on, so we tip slightly to one side, and bring the foot onto the knee. So this is the same knee as the bum cheek that's on the roller. And I'm going to try and hug that knee to that shoulder and give it a good roll all the way down the middle. We're going to do two different places. The first one is where we're sitting relatively upright and the other butt cheek's almost on the roller. Okay, so try and find something there. And we're just there. So tight bum muscles are often the culprits for knee pain. So we're going to give them a good working. All right, rock it, roll it. So this is all the muscles right just to the side of your bum crack, basically. Thank you, trigger point. Okay, so we've worked the inside ones, we're going to work the outer ones now. So rock it to about 45 degrees. I'm going to work down the outside of the bum now. So I can feel that right there, very different feeling. And if I can, I'm going to hug that knee and really expose those muscles. So by stretching them out, we're letting the foam roller really get at them. There. So find your tender spot, we're about to sit on it. Okay, now hold it for 30 seconds. And again, there's a lot of muscle going on in here. So really let it roll over the top of that roller, trying to relax it. You might get pins and needles. You might feel like you're sitting on a nerve, that's fine. Remember, you can change the angle slightly and you can get a very different feeling. Okay, rock and roll. This is where it gets worse again. Oh. Oh. Alright, other butt cheek. So shove it under. Let's come on that way. So the first one, we're going to cross the leg over and we're working fairly upright to hit all the muscles in the middle there. That's the worst spot for me right there. So 30 second sit. And sometimes you find it gets worse. Sometimes after a few seconds it just seems to pass. That's fine, just sit with it. Feel my right foot going a little bit numb from that one. Rock and roll it. Alright, now we're going to do down the outside. So roll across to 45 degrees. And roll down the outside of that leg. This is usually worse for me. Oh, there. Okay, pick the tender spot and sit on it for 30 seconds. So we take 30 seconds because it takes about 25 seconds for the muscle to actually relax. It spends about 25 seconds holding on for dear life, and then eventually it realizes it's safe and it can relax a little bit. Same as any stretch you do. About 25 seconds, it's fairly consistent from person to person. Okay, rock and roll. Okay, final one we're going to do is the lower back. This bit here, everything up to about the rib cage. So roll back and we're going to come off to one side slightly, so we're doing one side then the other. We're just going to roll it a bit to start with. It might feel a little bit like you're being kidney punched, and that's fine. It might not be a tender spot in here. Now, 30 seconds. And the key here really is relaxing it over the top. So I'm going to lie back and try to let it absorb over the top. So I tend to get a very tight lower back. This is a good one for stretching it out. A little bit of working it now, rock and roll. Oh. So going all the way from the top of the bum to the ribs. Other side, and then we're done. So rolling, picking your angles. Remember, you can tip it a little bit more or go a little bit flatter, whatever's going to work it. And I'm just going to relax back onto the floor. So I can get a little bit more weight onto that lower back. I'm really focusing on relaxing the muscles in there. Come up a little bit and then work it. Definite tightness as I get closer to the ribs up there and those back muscles. Last few seconds. And we're done with the foam rolling. I'd recommend you do that at least once a month, but ideally once a week, get the whole lot going. Or if you fancy it, every time you've done a run, we'll do it nicely.